Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2008 Toyota Sequoia SR5. Up front is a 5.7 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Sequoia for two reasons. First of all, these vehicles hold their value really well, and you guys always seem to have somewhat of an interest in Toyota SUVs that I bring here to the channel. But the second reason is that 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago at this point, I drove a 2003 Toyota Sequoia. And I made it a point in that video that no one knows what a Sequoia is. It's one of those bland mishmash vehicles. And now looking back on that video, I was very wrong. I was on a high horse I didn't deserve to be on, and I was trying to make something out of nothing. And so today we are going to give the Toyota Sequoia its proper flowers. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. I can't guarantee what you'll find over there, but one of the things you might find is a quick submission form to have your car reviewed. But let's get back to that 5.7 liter V8 under the hood. Well, there were actually two V8s offered here in the Sequoia during this time. This shares a lot with the Tundra, so you're gonna see some similarities there, but you could either get a 4.7 V8 or the 5.7 V8. This, of course, is the larger option, and since Matt and Al, who own this vehicle, do a lot of towing, and they bought it for the towing, the bigger engine was the way to go. The 5.7 liter from Toyota has proven itself time and time again that it's a very reliable engine. There are a handful of vehicles with this engine setup that have made it over 1 million miles. And so, if that doesn't prove anything, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. I can plus minus if I want to. There were not any manuals offered in this era, and I don't believe any Sequoia ever came with a manual, so par for the course. Last but not least, this particular Sequoia is four-wheel drive, and we'll talk about how to select that when we talk about the interior. How does it feel to drive the Toyota Sequoia? Well, something you should note is that this really is shared more with the Tundra than, like, say, the 4Runner, Highlander, vehicles like that. This rides and drives like a pickup truck, so expect that going into it. Now, the Lexus products from the era rode a lot nicer, so if you are looking for that ride quality, I would highly suggest looking for those products. But the V8 has enough pickup. Visibility out the front is pretty good. No visibility out of the back of any SUV is good. So par for the course there. And overall, it is a little bit more rough and tumble than other SUVs we've become so familiar with, but it is more capable. And so that's that trade-off that you're going to make. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 5 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer and transmission temperature. In the center is my speedometer and odometer. And off to the right, we have separate gauges for our fuel, coolant temperature, and then battery voltage and oil pressure share their own gauge. On the steering wheel, I don't get any forward-facing buttons. I do have a cruise control button down to the bottom right, but that's pretty much it. And off to the left, we have our climate control vent, power mirror switches, dome light, and then down below, we have our RSCA off and our headlight washers. So although this is an SR5, this is the base, this is the bottom of the bucket for what you could get at the time, it had headlight washers. Sort of an odd feature to throw in. Moving out of the door, we do have our lock and unlock, window locks, and power windows. And moving up into the center, we have a tiny information gauge for our fuel range and the digital clock. But then moving into the center, this is an aftermarket radio. This has been replaced actually less than a week ago. However, I do like this kit. I just want to comment real quick. This isn't standard of the Sequoia, but I like how this kit actually forms to the dash. So many aftermarket radio kits look like a hack job, and this really doesn't. I appreciate that. Off to the left, we do have our giant hazard switch, climate vent, and then info, select, and setup buttons. So that will change the information found up above the radio that we talked about, that little digital cluster. Really nice to see that. And then we have our 4-wheel drive settings. It's a little turn dial for 2-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low, as well as our fan speed. But moving into the center, we have our proper climate controls with digital readout. Not only is it dual zone, but it's technically tri-zone if you count the rear climate zone as its own zone. Heated seats, rear temperature, and aux input. Love how simple and basic all of this is laid out. Moving back off to the left, we do have our tow haul mode as well as our center diff lock. And then moving back into the center, we have our cigarette lighter and 12-volt outlet. Off to the left, we do have the standard shifter. I call this the jigsaw shifter because it kind of looks like a jigsaw puzzle. And Toyota has used this style shifter for many, many years, to the point where they actually still use it here today in very few vehicles, but it is here in 2024. Off to the right, we do have cup holders, and it does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. All Sequoias I've tested before it have passed, and all Sequoias I've tested since 2008 have passed, and so the Sequoia nameplate is synonymous with big friggin' bottle passes. Then I do get a little tiny cup holder behind this giant center console that does have a 12-volt outlet in it and tons of space. And like I said, the seats are heated and the driver's seat is power, which are very nice things to see. Again, in an SR5 2008 Sequoia, all very, very nice. However, speaking of seats, we do have 2 more rows of seating. So let's go do some back seat reviews. All right, so we're in this second row of the 08 Sequoia. And I mean, the space back here, this is my driving position. I can almost fully stretch out my legs and not touch anything. I mean, this genuinely is like a first class ticket on your favorite airline. This is wonderful. We get leather back here. I get my own temperature controls and fan speed. Sometimes a lot of car makers will do one or the other. You either get to control your fan speed or get to control your temperature. Toyota said nope. And I do have giant pop-out cup holders down there as well. Center console here. No cup holders, but just a little armrest in case you get fatigued or tired. This is incredible back seat space. I mean, really, really spacious stuff here. I wouldn't mind riding back here for hours, days, weeks, or months. And that is a very good thing. So anyway, let's hop into the third row and see what's going on back there. I don't know why I chose to enunciate like that. I'm just so quirky and weird. Guys, I'm different. I'm not like the other car reviewers. I'm different. Pick me. You gotta power fold them up, which we'll talk about in a second. There's a switch right here. Let's hop in. Ooh, that seat is cold. So, if I bring the seat back to where it's supposed to be, I'm back here. It's not the biggest, most spacious space ever. I am sort of crossing my legs a little bit. It's fine, and it definitely works. If you have a family and you don't have to tow things, buy a minivan. Please, please, please buy a minivan. So much better. However, if you do have to tow things, you need the third row. This is a great option. And I will say, like, kids back here are going to be fine. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. I'm like 270 right now, maybe 265. Maybe I'm a little morning skinny right now. And I fit back here. So, yeah, that's a big win, I would say. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Oh, I thought you would slide forward. Okay, guess up and over, as they say. All right, around the back of the Sequoia. Pull it up here. And here we have the back of the third row. This is where I was just sitting. But I want to show this off because over here, we do have power folding buttons. So not only when you hold this down, the seat will go down, which it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's also not the slowest one I've seen, so fine. But it also comes back up. A lot of companies will do one way or the other, either power down or power up. Not a whole lot of them do both ways. So very, very cool to see. Once that back row is down, you have tons of space. We do have a 12-volt outlet over there. I forgot to mention there's some storage over here and cup holders on either side. So very, very cool to see that. If you're in the back row, you're gonna be fine. You can also push this up and you have more storage down here. So very, very cool features in the back of the Sequoia. Love the versatility of this vehicle. Little pull strap here. There you go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I've never really been a big fan of Toyota in this era when it came to looks, and the Sequoia is no different. I think it is a little bland, I think it is a little blobby, and I can't even say properly that it's macaroni styling, because I don't have much nostalgia with these. I didn't really know anyone with a Sequoia growing up, and so to me, I don't really have that affinity for it. However, I do like the fact that it is in a nice forest green. I recently had a 2024 RAV4 TRD off-road in a similar color, so I like not only seeing that Toyota heritage line, but I do like seeing a Toyota that's not black, silver, or white, just a little bit of soul put into this vehicle. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving another Toyota Sequoia, and how have my thoughts changed? Well, I want to use actually the same analogy that I used in my 2003 Sequoia video. This is named after the Sequoia tree and Sequoia National Park. And in that older video, I said, oh, no one really knows what Sequoia National Park is unless anyone outside of California isn't going to recognize the name, blah, blah, blah. And now with almost 3 more years of experience since making that video, this SUV is like Sequoia National Park. I wasn't wrong about that, but the reason why is what changed. This car is one of those just silent monoliths. Sure, Sequoia National Park isn't always in the news. It's not the hot, hip, happening vacation spot, but it is a relic from what our country used to be like and what it used to look like. The national park system does a wonderful job preserving America. And so the Sequoia isn't new. I don't think anything in here is particularly groundbreaking. There's no crazy feature where I'm like, oh my goodness, grape juice, that's cool. I mean, of course there are cool features, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing eye-catching about it. There's no clickbait that comes with this vehicle. But in the same respect, it stood the test of time. It's always been a constant, and that constant is very, very good. And that's why Sequoias hold their value so well. I wish that they were a little bit cheaper. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Matt and Al for always supporting the channel. I can't even count how many vehicles I've reviewed from them in the last several years. They are always wonderful. Please go check out Wisco Shenanigans. This is their new tow vehicle to bring home, I'm sure, more cool, crazy, and wacky project cars. They already have one lined up that I'm very excited about, and I'm sure you'll see reviewed here on the channel at some point. So please go check out Wisco Shenanigans. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.